Two guys, one bench.
Shit talking. Strength sports. Combat sports.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Two Guys, One Bench, where we're 650 pounds of almost dying on a 30-pound bench. Bro.
Where we're talking more shit than a vegan at a steakhouse.
And that's a lot of shit.
Everyone here, please listen. We want your attention for just one moment. How could anyone kill a dog? We love animals. We all love animals. We love Cecil the lion. Know her as a sentient being with a unique personality who loves corn, watermelon, and hugs.
Rant of the week. We're about to pop some caps.
All right, we want to kick it off with some rants of the week. I'm going to get it started with my rant, and it's on dog bans, specifically targeting out certain breeds like pit bulls. Why is it that whenever a dog gets into an incident, it's always their breed's fault? But if a kid is an asshole, it's the parent's fault. It's the same situation. Whoever raised them is responsible for their actions 99% of the time, probably even higher than that. It's not the dog's fault because they have a shit trainer and they get a bad name for it. There are plenty of asshole dogs out there. Have you ever been around a Shih Tzu? They're little assholes. But no, they get a pass because they're tiny.
Yeah, I mean, that's hilarious. Yeah, no one talks about little Billy for being a little piece of shit. We don't try to euthanize him for being, the class terror. No, that's mom and dad's fault for doing that. Exactly. Same thing with these dog breeds, mostly, I hate to say it, there's a lot of assholes that buy pit bulls because they want to be, I'm a tough guy, I got a tough dog, because you're really a pussy. And you treat the dog like shit, and you train it like shit, and you train it to attack people. And now there's dog bans for people that actually have, cute pit bulls that are nice. I have a friend that has two of them. They're cute little things. They play with this little Pomeranian looking thing. It's not dead. It's fine. So yeah, dog bans can go fucking kick rocks. Oh, all right, everybody. My rant is shitty fucking tattoos that people don't know the meaning of. And often, we just got off a call with, Nicholas Pettas. He's in Japan. And I saw a lot of, I lived in Japan a lot of, years there, 11 years. I studied Japanese. It's an intricate art on how to draw each kanji. And, it's the opposite over there. People, have t-shirts that have the most idiotic bullshit English on them, like, oh, fuck puppy or something. And they're walking around, little kids in grade 6 wearing, shirts with fuck on them. But hey, over here, same fucking thing. Some idiot with a big giant fucking kanji tattoo doesn't know what it is and wants me to try to read it. And I say, listen, number one, it's very intricate. You need to know the kaki junban, which means the proper way to write it. So some meth head that you got the tattoo from fucking down in the fucking East Village, he doesn't know what the kaki junban is, and you probably don't even know what the fuck's on your arm.
Yeah, it just reminds me of a lot of guys who go get Polynesian tattoos because they want to be the Rock so fucking bad. It's like, nice tribal tattoo, Chad. What tribe are you from exactly? It just makes no fucking sense. People just like to get stuff. Well, if that's your thing, okay, but don't try and get a deep, meaningful piece when you don't even know the meaning of it.
Hell yeah, and that's my rant. Oh!
Special guest, K1 and Kyokushin legend, blue-eyed samurai, Nicholas Pettas.
った見方が、これからのジャパンの行方を占うことになると思います。というわけで K1 ジャパングランプリ2001をお伝えしました。福留さんどうもありがとうございました。
Well, everybody, we just cut off an amazing call with Nicholas Pettas, all the way from Tokyo. So he's an awesome dude, and a K1 legend, a Kyokushin karate legend. He has an amazing story of moving to Japan as a young teenager and being in this crazy program that was an advanced program, 3 years straight, where you train every damn day, living in this fucking dojo. It's amazing. And not only that, all he's done in his career, I've been in touch with him quite a bit, but it was first time for Darrell to meet him and hear his story. What'd you think, Darrell?
I was pretty impressed with the fact from a young age, he kind of already knew what he was going to go towards. Obviously, this is before UFC and MMA was a thing, and he knew what he wanted from a very young age and pursued it. Like most people when they're 17 have no fucking clue, but this guy did. And just finding the road he had to go through and how he's always fighting an uphill battle because he was undersized when he fought, but it was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was fighting in heavyweight, but he's 5'10", probably 220, with his fucking clothes on. And he was going against these giant monsters, 6'4", 6'5", 270. So, it's a real testament to how much the heart and spirit can push through. And I just want to say, I lived there between 2002, 2013. And that's when, Pettas had just won the K1 Grand Prix in Japan. And he was on TV almost every, show I clicked on. His Japanese was amazing. And it was a big inspiration for me as a foreigner going, hey, this guy can do it. Why can't I? And I, went along to do a similar route, but, not to Nicholas's level. And completely amazed by getting him on the podcast and hearing his story. So tune in and listen. You're not going to want to miss this one. Jump!
Special guest, K1 and Kyokushin legend, blue-eyed samurai, Nicholas Pettas.
All right, everybody, we have Nicholas Pettas here, live from Tokyo. And thank you so much for joining us. Nick, you've been a huge kind of mentor for me, just watching your channel, watching you over the years as, a Kyokushin karate guy, K1 fighter. For those that don't know, you're a pretty big celebrity over there, and you're on TV shows all the time. And when I was over there, I came over 2002, that was probably during the height of your success, just after you won the championship and everything. So yeah, you were on TV all the time. Like, who's this guy? I want to be like him. So thanks so much for joining.
Actually, thank you very much for having me on the podcast. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, man. How's Tokyo right now? I heard COVID's kind of popping off again.
Yeah, so they just started a state of emergency again, like this just a couple of days ago, and they're now extending that to other regions of Japan, which is kind of they're a little bit afraid of the new strand, but honestly, I mean, for my life, it didn't change anything. I drive a car, I don't take the public transportation, so I get around Tokyo in my car, and it's just like my daily routine is exactly the same as it was before. So I don't really feel it in the same way that a lot of other people do here. Actually, sorry, to go back on, say 2002 when you were there, that was the worst year ever because I broke my leg that year.
Oh shit! Yeah, that was when you kicked the guy and he checked it.
Yeah, I snapped my shin in half, which was pretty horrible. I didn't walk for like 6 months after that, so that was pretty bad a year.
Shit, yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I won in 2001, and then 2002 was like the they have that second year slump like professional athletes tend to get sometimes. Well, I hit that big time. So it was pretty harsh actually.
Well, I can't imagine.
I'll tell you a funny story about that. Because I was super famous for winning the 2001 Grand Prix, people really recognized me at the time, and it was annoying because I was sitting in a wheelchair and I got stuck on this ledge, like this tiny little ledge, and I couldn't get over it. And I was scared shitless because I had a broken leg and everything. And all these people are walking by me and they said, "Oh, hey, Nicholas Pettas, how you doing? How you doing, Genki?" And I'm like, "Could you please come over and help me get over this ledge?" Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing that time.
Wow, shit, man. That's
Fun
commendable.
story.
You gave everything in the ring, including, a lot of damage to your body. So no one can take that away
Yeah.
from you.
So true, man. So true. I was just talking about that because we're about to launch a podcast over here, like something kind of what we're doing now, where I can probably interview and meet different, athletes and different people that I've known over the years here. I think it could be interesting. Not sure if we're doing it in English or in Japanese, but I would like to do it in English mostly.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be
And yeah, we were just talking about that.
Yeah, with these Zoom calls, you can touch anybody in the world, and internet connection is pretty good. So you could have amazing interviews in the comfort of your home.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of crazy.
You touched on it before, how COVID really hasn't affected much of your life. How has it affected things like your gym and things of that nature?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so last year, when they had the first lockdown, it was kind of interesting to see because we closed 2 weeks before anyone else closed. We were kind of trying to be proactive against it. My partner in the business was also very famous, and so she was like, being really like super, proactive before anyone else. And so we had over 200 members in the gym at the time, and I think more than half actually ended up quitting it. We were asking the members to stay supporting the gym and stay on with the membership, and we would extend their membership if they just kept paying now. But most didn't, and most people with CrossFit, unfortunately, it's one of those sports or fitnesses where you're like, you either love it or you kind of like, you're on the, how do you call it, on the edge of like, either you want to keep going or you don't want to keep going. But if you get the chance to quit, you will quit straight away. And it's because it's hard. It's like, it's just hard work, and if you don't love it, then there's no way you're going to come back after 3 months of sitting on your ass, basically. So the cool thing about what happened was, because people were sitting in their houses for like 2 months or 3 months almost and not being able to work out, is like everyone wanted to work out. So we had like 60 new members join in the first month after we opened up after the COVID. So we were basically doing better than we were before the COVID. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, that's good.
That's good to see that things bounce back. It was kind of like that
a
little bit here. People were just waiting to get back into the gym as soon as they could, but now they're closed again. So you said you were going back into a lockdown. Does that mean the gym's closed right now?
No. So what they're doing right now in Japan is they have restaurants and nightclubs and stuff like that has to close by 8. And that means, so you get the last order at 8 o'clock and then you get kicked out by 9. Most places are upholding this, but I was recently at a bar called the Hobgoblin. Just meeting a friend there and we were talking. So they closed the door basically, but it didn't close the bar. I thought that was kind of funny. Like, you're not supposed to do that, but they never kicked us out. So it was kind of cool. We just got to hang out a little bit longer. So yeah, sports clubs are not actually involved in that right now. And we're not being told to shut down. So I wouldn't really call it a lockdown. It's just a state of emergency. And I don't even know what that means, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Darrell probably doesn't know, but like in Japan, people on the regular just wear masks. And I was talking with my wife, social distancing, no one hugs, you bow at each other. It's not like, and there's a lot of people, but over here, it's just people just don't give a fuck, and they gather anyways. But there's a full lockdown right now.
So gyms are closed down and everything?
Gyms are completely closed. A lot of Canada is the same. Like, it's kind of a left-wing country, so we're just full lockdown.
There's only one place.
Wow.
Really.
Where exactly are you guys located?
Calgary, Alberta, so near the mountains, Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, so that's in the middle area of Canada.
It's considered like Western Canada towards Vancouver, and then there's Vancouver's about a 12-hour drive or a 1-hour plane ride.
Oh, okay, got it. I've been to Vancouver one time.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it was back in 1999, maybe. I was staying up in Bellevue and training with Maurice Smith up there.
Oh, nice.
And he's like, Nick, we're gonna drive up to Vancouver and check out the fights. And so It's pretty nuts, man. So we drove all the way up there, and then we get to this warehouse in the middle of friggin' nowhere, and then someone had put up a ring, and then they just had like illegal, like, you know, MMA fights there. And then right in the middle of it, the cops came on and they like shut down the whole thing. It was like, no, we're just filming a movie and stuff like that. But they're like, nah, you guys are fighting. You got to get out of here. So they shut it down. It was really cool.
I think I remember you telling that about the on your podcast or the Tokyo show. You mentioned you were there with another Kyokushin guy, Fitoza, or no?
Yeah. Well, the first time I went up there to train was they were basically testing. They weren't testing Francisco Fili because they had already signed a contract with the K1 at the time, but they wanted to test me and 𝐓.𝐆.𝐻 and also Gary O'Neill.
Okay.
So they sent all four of us up on a training camp, and this was right before Francisco was going to fight Andy Hoog. So I was just like training along with him as being his training partner at the time. I didn't know I was being tested to see if I was any good at getting into kickboxing or not, but apparently that was the mission for Maurice Smith, was to check out and see if he could make some kind of talent out of us. In the beginning, because I really don't like getting punched in the face, I really didn't like it as much as I thought I would.
No, it's not. Yeah, coming from Kyokushin, it's like, yeah, you can kick people in the head, but that's obviously harder. And
yeah.
But when you get a nice punch to the dome, it's like, oh shit. And your guard has to
like
be
the first
higher,
jab I got, I remember it was some beginner, and I was like, what the fuck? It's like, you just punched my face. I was like, you can't do that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I learned it the hard way, that's for sure.
Yeah, Maurice is an animal. He knocked out Mark Coleman and won the UFC belt back in the day too, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's a legend.
he was like the first striker to make it in the MMA. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
But when you think about it, when he was at his top of his game, he went 12 years undefeated as the world heavyweight champion in kickboxing.
Holy shit.
So people forget that he was actually a real legend.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
People need to go back in the origins of the combat sports and know who these legends are, and you're one of them, man. So yeah, I was just telling Darrell, like, Japan has about 130 million people. Canada has a population of 35 million, so that's like Tokyo, basically.
Yeah, pretty
greater
much,
Tokyo area. So, but just everybody watches. Yeah, and everybody watches the same TV channels. There's NHK. There's only a few of them, and if you're on TV, everybody's going to watch you. And Nick was on all these variety programs, and his Japanese is, I can't compare to his Japanese, but he's amazing. So, and some of the TV programs you put out, your series with the Samurai Spirit ones. Sorry if I'm butchering that.
Yeah.
Karate. Is it an art of self-defense or a sport based on combat? Whatever it is, karate is known worldwide for its roots in Japan. Spiritual development is part of the package. But must practitioners really train like their lives depend on it? And what is the ultimate aim of mastering techniques that can deliver the coup de grace? The answers lie in understanding the true meaning of strength in the martial arts. Bushido, a union of body and mind.
Host, welcome to Samurai Spirit. I'm your host, Nicholas Pettas. On today's show, I'm introducing you to karate. Of course, karate is my style of preference. And 20 years ago, when I first came to Japan as an 18-year-old skinny little kid, this is where I started. This is the Hombu Dojo for the Kyokushin in the whole world. And we're back here just to find out exactly what that spirit of Osu is.
Pettas knows a thing or two about fighting. 20 years ago, he came to Japan from Denmark to study karate, leaving behind his family and friends. He committed himself to intensive training, driven by a determination to become strong. It worked. He soon began winning tournaments, and in just 4 years became the European champion of the Kyokushin school of karate. He went on to compete in mixed martial arts and to win the Japanese Grand Prix championship.
Yeah, no, that's all good. Yeah, so that was a series of 8 different episodes, which we shot over almost 3 years, because a lot of research went into them. And so we shot a pilot. The first one was about kendo, I remember, and I was still fighting professionally at that time, so I was in fantastic shape for it. And then when the pilot went off, it was like NHK just said, "Yep, we're doing the whole series." So I worked with the same crew for the whole year, 8 episodes, and we traveled all over Japan and went together and like had a really, really good bond over those shows. But yeah, during that time, I also had my first hip replaced, and I was going through rehab. And I'm gonna see if I can actually upload some stories on the YouTube channel where I go over and like director's cut kind of thing about those Samurai Spirit shows, because they're up there and they used to get taken down, but there's other people making money on my content basically. So I kind of want to take advantage of that myself. But one of the stories, for example, is when we did the sumo show. I was at the stable where Hakuhodo is, like the Korean or Mongolian wrestler who's the grand champion of Yokozuna right now. Yeah. And it was like just 2, maybe 3 months after I'd had my hip replaced. And so I didn't even know if I could squat down or stand back up again. And the TV show's like, well, we can't postpone it any longer. We have to shoot the content. So, you know, they put the mawashi on me, took my clothes off and put me in there with these wrestlers. And I'm like scared shitless. Like, for real, like, because I don't know if they tossed me over, if my hip is going to break again. Because the first hip you have replaced, if you've ever had hip replaced, you'll notice that you're really, it takes years to start trusting that hip again, because without that joint inside you, you're actually not able to walk at all. So it's kind of a scary feeling to mentally overcome like a replaced hipment. Which I felt I struggled with a lot the first one, for sure. But that show actually showed me that I was a lot stronger than I realized. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I remember that actually. At that time, I followed you had a blog, and I remember going through that and reading about your recovery and everything. And because at that time, I've blown out my ACL, and I was going to get reconstructive surgery in Japan. That was just before the 2011 earthquake, tsunami, and I lived in Ibaraki, Mito, so I was right in the middle of that whole shit show. So the hospital called and like, the hospital's basically broken now. You can't have your surgery. So
wow.
Following you,
what did you end up doing?
I just haven't replaced it.
No, so are you still bad?
No, it feels great. I don't spar anymore, but I powerlift now, and it's fine. So,
wow. Interesting.
But it was because of that, watching you, I'm like, I kind of had some trust in the Japanese system, and it was gonna, it's a big surgery to have overseas, and to trust some of those hospitals. But Japan's pretty high level in terms of their care, as you know.
Yeah, they're a bit overcautious here. Like, I mean, they keep you in hospital longer just because of the insurance policies and over here and stuff like that, which is kind of cool because it's also a little bit safer when you think about it. Like, for example, when I had my knee surgery done when I was 26, they scraped out half of the meniscus, basically. They just go in and snip around in it, which is minimal evasion. But if that had been in Denmark or in America, you'd probably been sent home like the same day or the day after. Simply because it's just too expensive to stay at the hospital. But in Japan, they keep you there for like 10 days. Yeah. And it only costs like $500 anyway.
Yeah. I actually have had 3 meniscus surgeries, and every time it's out the day of. The first time was ACL, MCL, both meniscus, and then the other 2 were 2 more meniscus ones. And it was just in and out the same day.
Right. I mean, does that make you feel good? Because I'm saying, for me, it freaks me out if they send you back straight away.
Honestly, the fact that they let me go mentally, I felt like I was okay. The fact that, okay, well, they trust that that I'm good to go, so I'll be good. But I felt like with my first surgery, since I've never gotten one, I went into it a little worried that I'd never recover to be how I was before. Obviously, like you mentioned with your hip, how you were a little cautious. You didn't know what can I do, what can't I do. And I was like that, honestly, for about probably 2 years, because I'd also gained weight from lifting weights. So it wasn't that I got fat. I was just way more muscular. So the movements I was trying to do, I couldn't do them, not because I wasn't able to. It was just I was heavier and I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Oh man, with weight loss and gain, and it's everything changes. Like everything changes. Let me tell you a little bit about my hips. So the first one was done 10 years ago, and the second one was done, I think, 4 years after that. And so the first time I spent literally 6 months in a swimming pool. Like every day I was walking in the water and running and kicking and doing all these different drills that I could come up with, and just to like strengthen it. Once I got out of the water, I would need a cane. Like I was literally stuck with a cane for 6 months, and I was scared shitless of walking on the leg the whole time. At about, I think, 10 months after, I started feeling a little bit more confident in it. And then I started, and then Reebok kind of called me up and said, hey man, we want you to be a CrossFit ambassador in Japan. Are you interested in that? And I was like, I don't even know what CrossFit is, but yeah, let me check it out. And then so I started CrossFitting, and then very, very slowly on, because you do a lot of squatting in CrossFitting, like you body weight squats or just weighted squats, generally speaking. And it kind of overcame the fear of using and trusting the hip. So the second time I had my hip replaced, I literally knew that I needed to train for this hip replacement. So I did 100 thrusters at just the 30 kilos a day, which is like 10 sets of 10 reps. And then I did 100 sit-ups. And this was basically what I did in preparation for the operation. The doctor says, it's the same doctor, same hospital, same nurse. It's the same everything. I even stayed in the same room that I did the first time. Doctor says after the operation, he goes, oh, Nick, you know, you should probably expect a faster recovery this time because your muscles are in such great condition. And I was like, really? That sounds exciting, right? So the next day, I'm walking without a cane. 8 days later, I get discharged. They send me home, and I walk out of the hospital, up the stairs, and ride my motorcycle home.
Jeez, wow.
Incredible recovery. Yeah, and it's also because I knew I could trust the leg. You know, the first one, it was more fear than it was really muscular.
Yeah, for sure.
So that obviously came from the years of fighting. And like Russ has been telling me about you for a while. So told me about how you're K1 legend and all that. What I want to know is what was it like, your experience there, going up against like bigger athletes and having to overcome that? What was that like?
Yeah, like Peter Arts and Jerome LeBanner and all those crazy guys.
Yeah. I mean, each fight is always different. And I'm not a natural heavyweight size guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm 180 centimeters. What's that, 5'10" or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that tall. I mean, most of the guys I fought were over 190, which is like 6 feet. And they also have more just natural body weight. Not that they're bigger, they're just bigger people. And this is really the biggest drawback of it. But I had this experience from karate where one of my senpais, actually Judd Reed, he had sparred this really tall guy one time, and it stood out very vividly in my mind that this little man just went in and like really just laid it into this bigger man and pushed him back. It was just a dojo fight, but it was awesome. I was like, oh, that's how you fight someone who's bigger and stronger than yourself. You just go for it. And so when I had to fight Jerome LeBanner, I fought, it was in a 8-man tournament. They just started doing 8-man tournaments. And then so he was my second opponent. I knocked out the first guy really easy. I'm not even sure if it was a real fight, to be honest. I don't actually know. It could have been a fixed fight for all I know, because they just wanted me to fight Jerome LeBanner and take revenge on him or something. And I didn't really believe that I hit him that hard. I mean, I did like an axe kick and then maybe a low kick, and then that was it. He was done. I was like, okay, that was easy. But then I knew I had to fight Jerome Banner. So in comes this 122 kilo guy with 5% body fat and 192 centimeters, like this monster basically. And it was just a street fight. So I remember going into the fight thinking, and this is Maurice Smith was in my corner that time, and they had told me kind of like the day before, hey, can you fight him and like just take him down, whatever it takes. This, I had no idea what that meant. Like literally, I had no clue what they meant when they said that. I was waiting, whatever it takes. It doesn't matter what you do, Nick. We just want him to be on the mat somehow. He needs to be flat on the mat somehow. So they basically told me to fight dirty, and I didn't understand that. So I asked Maurice Smith, like, hey, Maurice, you know, and because as I passed like the producer of the K1 in the hallway on that day, he's like, you know what to do in the next fight? And I was like, what do you mean I know what to do? This guy's nuts. So I said to Maurice, I said, hey man, what the fuck? I think they're trying to make me fight dirty or something. And then he looks at me, he says, yeah, sometimes this happens in the professional fighting world. But the real question here is, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to see how good I am right now. I want to test it. I want to see how far I've gotten with my training, because it's been like a 2 years break from karate where I just focused on kickboxing. And then he goes, well, then what can he do? What's the worst he can do? And I looked at him. I said, I don't know. What's the worst he can do? He says, well, he can punch you and he can kick you. And I was like, yeah, obviously it's a kickboxing fight. And then he goes, what can you do? And I said, well, I guess I can punch and kick back, right? And he goes, yeah, good luck with it. Go in there and do all you can. Do as much as you can. And so I walked into that fight with that kind of mindset of going up against the monster and thinking, okay, let's just see how far, you know, the rabbit hole really goes down here. And then I just went all in. It was a crazy fight. I don't even remember what happened. Yeah.
Do you think there's any after effects of fighting larger guys which led to the hip injury, or was it degenerative, or?
No, it's not from fighting bigger guys. It's from overtraining for decades.
Oh, okay.
It's like, how do I explain that? I'm definitely doing a podcast about this where I go into details about all of this, but just imagine how much work we used to do. I would do about an hour's physical running and sit-ups and push-ups and stuff like that, body weight exercises in the morning. So it's about between 22 and 35 minutes of running 6 days a week. And that doesn't include the 2 sessions on Wednesday and Saturday where we did 10 times 100-meter sprint work. And then there's 2 hours of kickboxing, literally in the gym, spending 2 hours. Pad work, bag work, skill work, sparring, all that stuff. And then you would go home and I would have a break, have a nap, and then it would be back into Gold's Gym where we were lifting weights at night. So that was 3 to 4 sessions that we did multiple sessions a day for decades, just to always be prepared and always keep ourselves ready for whenever the phone rings, basically. And this is what wear and tear does to you. It just literally wears and tears you down. I could have done 1/3 of that workout or 1/4 of it, maybe just a quarter of that, and I could have been in better shape and I could have been healthier and more sustainable. I just didn't have a proper coach, so I didn't know.
Yeah, makes sense. And one thing I did want to touch on is just, looking behind you, it's pretty powerful for me, but I see
there's some stuff up there.
Founder of Kyokushin Karate, Oyama. And one of the craziest part of your story is that you were one of his last students. Is that correct?
Yeah, there was 2 of us. There was me, and then there was Mahashi. We graduated the same year, and we started off 6 of us, and then we ended up just being me and him left out of the gang. And by the time we had graduated, Sosai was actually in hospital, so he was in and out of hospitals. Just coming to visit us once in a while at the dojo. He came in from the hospital to see us at the graduation, and he went straight back to hospital. And then he passed away shortly after that. So We graduated on March the 15th, and he passes away on April the 26th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sad. But people probably listening don't know is that you were part of the Deshi program. Maybe can you describe what that entailed? Because you would do it best. I'd rather not butcher that for you.
Well, I mean, it's called the Uchi Deshi program, but when we used to live in a place called the Young Lions Dormitory. The idea for the course was to do 1,000 days of training under Sosai, because he believed that it takes you 1,000 days to learn how to make a proper knuckle. And when I heard about that program originally in Denmark, I was 16, I think. So we had this weight room where I was just standing and lifting some weights one afternoon. I wasn't very good at lifting weights. I was tiny back then. I was like 70 kilos. It was just ridiculous. I was like so skinny, you would not recognize me. But then anyway, the senpai comes up to me and he goes, "Oh, Nick, you're like those Uchi Deshis in Japan. You're always training at the dojo." And I literally was always at the dojo. It would be like, I had a routine where I would go to school. Before school, I'd get up in the morning and I'd go run around the park, and then come back, have breakfast, go straight to school. And then I would go from the school directly to the library, because the library was like this place where you could just sit down and be in a quiet, peaceful mind, and then just, finish my homework as soon as possible. Once I was done, it was straight to the dojo. And it was like that 6 days, 7 days a week. I used to go out there and train with my friend because one of his dad was one of the instructors and had the key, so we could get in on weekends too. It was like, I loved it so much. So anyway, this guy comes up and he says, "Oh, hey, Nick, you're like those Uchi Deshi in Japan." And I was like, what's that? What is that? And he goes, Oyama Masutatsu, he teaches in Tokyo. And I was like, "Excuse me? Oyama Sosai is still alive?" And I was just like, it was just this like mind-blowing, like, there was only these 2 black and white photos of Sosai hitting the sandbag and sitting in Seiza. And I'm like, "No way, he's alive?" And it says, yeah, he has this Uchi Deshi program where they come and they live for 1,000 days. And by the way, no foreigner has ever completed this. Dude, I was just like, "Okay, Mom, I'm going to Japan for 3 years." So basically, I spent the next month convincing my mom and then convincing my branch chief in Denmark that this is what I really wanted to do. And I got it done. I mean, I quit school when I was 17, started saving up money so that I had some money to come to Japan for. And then when I ran out of that money, my mom was super nice in that she was supporting me until the end of it. So, yeah.
Wow.
It's a really cool experience. You basically lived inside, not inside the dojo, but the dojo was here, and then you had to run around the back alley and then get into the dorm, which was in the backside. It doesn't exist anymore. It's torn down.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's amazing to know, like, from a young age, you knew what you wanted to do and to go after it, because a lot of people would, especially at that time, don't really maybe have a direction, but to see that you pursued it and it worked out for you is pretty amazing.
Yeah. I am often asked about this, and I got to be a little bit honest here about this, and it might sound funny, but it's because it's before the internet. It's because there was no information. It was because of this dream of what I saw in my head. It's like, okay, this is like the Karate Kid becoming real. Like, there's Mr. Miyagi, and he's really alive in Tokyo, and I can really become, the next Karate Kid. I think if I'd had a lot of information, if I had read a book, if I'd read my book about that, I'm not sure I would have done it. Like, I'm not sure, to be honest, because it was just too much. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking about your book, in there, you're obviously in amazing shape still, and you talk about trying to live to 100 years old. Can you go into a little bit more in depth on that?
Yeah, well, so there's just this incredible curiosity for what it would be like to turn into 100 years old. And so the curiosity is it's just a figure, right? I mean, who knows how old we're going to get, right? How can you calculate that? But if I have a goal and say, yeah, I want to be 100 years old, That's like 3 digits on your birthday. That would be like super cool. But I don't want to just be 100 years old where I'm sitting in my sofa. I want to be fit at 100 years old, you know? And so the concept of my book recently that I came out with in Japanese, which hadn't been translated yet, is this: what is sustainable fitness really? What is it about that I can enjoy? What is Nicholas Pettas can really enjoy now and say, stay healthy and stay fit? And it's not the same as it used to be. Like, I used to train a lot more than I do now. But right now, I'm actually just enjoying going in and doing a boot camp class just with everyone else. And it's just an hour. There's no heavy lifting. And then I enjoy eating healthy foods. And I think that if you keep yourself fairly healthy, and if you also don't overwork too much, that you should be able to. You should be able to take care of yourself until you're 100 years old. And that's kind of the concept of it. I see you guys like lifting heavy stuff. I can tell that this is a thing. And I was also very much caught up in the lifting heavy things because it's kind of cool to be able to throw some big weights around. I agree with this. And I used to be there, and it's just like I had to reinvent myself to not go after the big weights and not do these things. But for example, and I'm not comparing myself to how strong you guys are because I was never at that level, but a couple of months ago, like randomly had this kid come in and he's like, you know, one of those young kids that just want to lift really heavy shit, right? And so randomly on the menu that day, we had bench press. And so we're doing sets of bench presses. I can see he's adding weight, and it's like, you know what, I'm just going to see if I can keep up with this kid. And he's maybe what, 23, 24. And so if I go back and look at because I found my old journals from when I was 22 and 23, and it's like I was benching 140 kilos. And so I can't do that now. I know I can't, but I wanted to see how heavy it could go. So we were going, 80, 90, 100. And I said, okay, now the 3 digits on it's 105. Okay, it's 110. Got 115. And I was like, okay, now this kid, he bailed at 115. And I was like, fuck it. I put 120 on the bar and I took it. And I was like, and I haven't bench pressed heavy in years. So when you think about it, unless I'm actually competing in something or training for something specific, I really don't need to hit that heavy weights, as long as I'm being sustainable and I'm not in pain. And this is really something I want to talk about. Being in pain is like one of the things that I fear the most. Like, I hate pain at a complete different level than other people probably. And it's because I lived with pain for so long that I've just literally had enough.
Yeah.
Do you maybe think that's what made you special in competition?
Well, it kept me, yes, absolutely. I would say that it did give me an edge because I didn't like getting hit and I didn't like being in pain. So I tried to protect myself as much as I could, always. And I stayed fairly healthy. The only thing that I overdid was literally out of fear of losing and out of fear of getting injured was that I overtrained, and that took its toll on the body. I learned since then.
Yeah. Well, I think you played it smart as well. Like, you knew when your time was over, and a lot of these guys keep on going. And, some of the guys in K1, 100 plus fights, and in K1, no one really realizes it. They watch UFC and guys fight, 3 times a year. You're doing 3 or 4 fights in a night against, and you're bound to get knocked out or knock someone else out. Sounds like you're not affected at all by CTE or any kind of
no, not that, not necessarily. And so it's not really the fighting that's the dangerous thing there. I mean, even the tournament fighting is actually not so bad, because it's really, I looked at my record the other day. It's 36 fights.
Yeah.
I think, no, it's not even that. What is it? 18 fights? It was 9 losses by way of knockout. 9 wins, 8 of them are win by knockout. So it's like, it's either black or white with me. I either knock someone out or I get knocked out. And so it's not a lot of fighting, but it's all the training that leads up to those fights. That's what's really messing people up,
Yeah.
But the reason that I pulled out of it, and the time when I did pull out, was a couple of things. I was living with so much pain in my left hip, and let's try and imagine this. Like, if you had to try and stand up, I would have to unlock my hip before it would be able to straighten itself out. So I had to find a way to get around it so that it would crack open. And then I would be up and out, and it would be constant pain. I would be bashing on the hip like this all the time, whenever just standing around or walking. So basically you start to arrange your whole life about how little can you move from A to B. Like, where can you hold on things, and where can I, like, it's nuts. Like, you're trying not to walk at all. So I'm like walking less and less and less. And the only thing that was keeping me training for the last fight, for the last I think not 6, but 12 months, the last year of my fighting, was that I had a contract that I had to fulfill. And then also, obviously I needed money. And that's about it, because I didn't have anything else to do. I was I kind of had to do it. But during that time, I was on constant painkillers. Once a week, I would go out to the hospital in Kawaguchi with my sports doctor, and he would get a needle about that big and like jam it into my hip while he's watching a live x-ray feed, so that he knows he's getting it into the right spot. And then he would lubricate the joint with something called, I don't know what it was. And that was the only thing that kept me going and training for the last 12 months, and was just so much pain. Like, I was like shitting blood, because when you take that much bufferin, it starts to eat holes inside your stomach and stuff like that. So this is what I'm trying to say. It's not sustainable, and it's not healthy, and competitive sport is really not healthy. But I'm trying to learn, let's see if I can stay until 100. That would be nice.
Well, yeah, and you put in your time and sweat, blood, and tears. So we don't expect any more from you, other than just being awesome. One of my favorite awesome moments, and this is towards the end of your career, maybe your last couple of fights, was the New Year's Eve Dynamite, where you were up against a 7-foot monster.
そこは俺のリングだから。こうやって止まったらニコラスいいですよね。ちょっと痛そうですね。4先生ちょっと来ましたね。このローキック、ペタスの気持ちの入った魂のこもったローキック。4先生は前に出ないと、キム・ヨンヒョンは前に出ないとダメですね。キム・ヨンヒョン、本間を超える巨神兵がまた膝を繰り出していく。このジャブも重そうだ。さあしかしニコラス・ペタス。足が効きましたね。はい。これ聞いてますかね、このローキック。右のロー。かかと落としを今決めようとしていきました。この大技、右のローキック。バックブロー。回転しました。そして狙ったような右のローキック。富田さん、このキム・ヨンヒョン、巨神兵、足来てますか？左足はもうミミズバレになってますからね。かなり腫れてますよ。嫌がってますか？このペタスの勇気、見てください、ミミズバレ。キム・ヨンヒョンのこの左の太もも、自分より37センチ身長高く、そして体重は50キロ重い相手に対して、いや畠山さん、こんな差があって普通立ち向かっていく勇気というのはね、そういう勇気がないとね、これ入れないですしね。本当にこのキム選手の左ジャブでもですね、普通の人のストレートと同じぐらいに17センチ、体重差50キロ、この差を超えていく。ペタスの魂が向かっていく。さあキム・ヨンヒョン、とにかく前に出ないとダメですね。これ以上はダメージはもらいたくないですね。さあ手を出せるか。ニコラスの前になっちゃってるんで、前蹴り。さあキム・ヨンヒョンのね、このプレッシャー、なんとかパンチを出していけるのか、このプレッシャー。いや畠山さん、これ一発でこれ当たればすごいですよね、キム・ヨンヒョン。そうでしょうね。重さはやっぱ50キロの体重差ありますからね。ぐらついた、右ドロー、右ドロー、そしてもう一度のペタスの魂のジャブ、いやパンチが顔面を捉えましたよ。ペタスの青い首の侍がパンチが投げ込まれた、崩れ落ちる巨神兵。
The Korean guy, I think his name is Kim Hyun, and like this guy was actually 7 feet. There was him, and there was Che Homon, who's another monster as well, but
he's actually taller than Che Homon.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, so well, Homan Choi is 214, and I used to spar with Jan Norcher from South Africa. He used to live in Japan for a while. He had a sponsor, so he came to and trained in my gym. So he's 211. So I used to train with someone that's that big. So I actually was kind of okay with it. But then this guy comes in and he's like 217. It's just ridiculous how big he was.
Like an NBA player, like a center.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't know I was gonna fight the guy until like 3 days before. They wanted me to fight Musashi as a revenge fight from the 2001, but Musashi kept turning it down, and then they couldn't find it. And then they, like 3-4 days before, they like sent me this videotape and says, have a look at this guy. Who do you want to fight out of these 3 guys? And there was 3 different guys, 2 Japanese and then the Korean guy. And I was like, this is New Year's Eve. Give me the big guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I chose that opponent. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, it ends awesomely, but it's David versus Goliath. But I remember a few years back, I was communicating with you, and I just talked to you about that fight, and you gave me some awesome advice as well. But you were just, how to overcome something like a task that big and just have the spirit. And so, that one thing in Kyokushin and in Japan, just living there, most people won't get is that spirit and the way they train. Everybody, like going from elementary school to high school, kids are doing these crazy sports days, and like they train hard. They're in bukuts and their clubs, and everybody has a club, and there's a judo team, and there's it's an amazing country in that sense, where it's just that the spirit is so strong. And so I really saw that when you were fighting, and it was pretty awesome.
Well, so that's like a culmination of at the time it was 25 years in Japan, I think, maybe, or at least 20 years in Japan. And so when I saw him on the tape, I was like, well, so he's a sumo guy. He's not really, he's just big. You know what I mean? He's just really, really big. And obviously that's dangerous, but I tried to look at it from a different angle. Say, okay, what do I have going for me that he doesn't have? For example, if I had to fight someone that was like, that came to my chest, what would I do to this guy? Like how, and what would I not want this smaller than me person doing to me that I wouldn't like? And then it came very clear that the answer came very simple. It's like, well, if I'm doing double low kicks, there's no way he can block the second low kick. And it was also another choice, because I'm coming back after fighting, after having broken my shin and having to overcome that like psychological, like kicking bone on bone again, because it's really scary. Obviously you don't want to break the leg again. But so I invented this double low kick where I kick one time where it's light, or it's fairly light, and I get a reaction out of him. And then on the second one, he puts his foot back down, I want to tap it with another kick. And that was basically the plan. Don't get kicked in the head, and then just keep tapping that double low kick until he falls. And that's all I went in there with. Kept it super simple. I got lucky that I punched him in the end. It wasn't planned for, and I actually broke my hand punching him. So yeah.
Bonus, New Year's bonus for you, right?
Yeah, dude, man, winning or losing, I'd be ending up in hospital. It's like every time I finish the fight, I'd be looking up at the hospital ceiling, and I'd be, why am I still here? But yeah, it was good for me though. I pulled out at the right time, because K1 kind of went bankrupt, and then it was up in the air for a while, and now it's become a real sport again. Actually, on the 24th, they had a K1 event scheduled, where Leona Pettas, the last co-hire of mine that still carries my name in the ring, was going to fight for the title match in under 70 kilo class. So that would have been super excited, but it just got canceled.
Oh shoot. Yeah. I mean, obviously the sign of a true fighter is also through your students, and you've raised a bunch of awesome students. And I know it's a little sad for you, but you did have one student that died tragically. I mean, he was amazing. Yeah. I was almost on the same kind of circuit. I was probably meant to fight him at one point, but luckily I didn't. He's a badass. And Koichi, he was the man. If you'd met him, you'd love him. He was always like, just so laid back. Yeah. Like, I remember him when he walked in for his first fight, we were joking about it in the gym. What are we going to call you? Like, give you a ring name. And so we're like, yeah, let's do Koichi Pettas, just like the Muay Thai fighters, they get their sensei's name, So like, for example, Buakao, right? Buakao is not really Buakao. That's his coach's name, right? So that's normal in stables in Thailand. So we made it as a joke. And then he walks in there and he's super laid back, super chill, and he knocks the first guy out, and cuts into his next fight. He knocks the next guy out. The first 6-7 guys he fought, he knocked them all out in a row. And then suddenly this was like a thing catching on. It was really it was during the time when I couldn't fight professionally because of politics. So I was pouring all my energy into him and like really, really making him into a champ. It was really nice. It was a good time in my life, actually. I enjoyed it. Yeah, Yeah, I remember him. He was an awesome fighter, and a pretty big guy for a Japanese guy, right?
Yeah, he was 186, almost 187, so he was bigger than me. I mean, taller than me, not bigger than me. He ended up gaining weight and became about the same size as me. So it was great. It was a great training partner. We trained like 6 days a week together, like 2-3 times a day. So yeah, he was always there.
Nice. All right, Nick, that's about all the questions we had for you, and it's been an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, I could talk with you all day long, but let us know where we can tell everybody paying attention to the story, awesome story, how to get a hold of you, where to, find your books, and if they want a nice, signed version like I got, how to do that.
Yeah. Well, so I'm out of stock right now on the book side. I just reopened up nicholaspettas.com as just a simple landing page. I'm going to try and work on some merch on that. The Tokyo Show, which is a YouTube channel that I've been working on for the last 6 months, is going to, put me a lot of more focus and attention to that show. Trying to change the format up a little bit. Also, I have the first 15 chapters of The Blue-Eyed Samurai as a director's cut audiobook that I shot during COVID last year. And I'm releasing them once a month. So every 20th of the month, there's a new chapter coming up. But that's as much. I'm not going to shoot any more as a audiobook. What I really want to focus on is, building up an online community for 2 things. One of them is going to be an online fitness community for people that are stuck in their houses or stuck during COVID, and just because we did it last year, and the platform was really interesting to be on personally as a coach, and also working out with people online. I really enjoyed that. Want to make that into a real thing, and I also want to start, really producing better quality shows on the YouTube channel, basically. Just because I enjoy it, like I just really enjoy it. It's just fun to go out there and challenge things and do adventurous things, and and then I'm just setting up a Patreon now. So if someone wants to be a super fan, then they can support the channel by donating a monthly small fee, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Nick, otherwise you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. Basically, I'm always there doing something silly.
Yeah, man, it's awesome talking to you, and finally get to connect and have a longer conversation. So thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And, hopefully we talk to you soon.
Yeah, I want to talk about that shirt you guys are wearing. Is that your own brand?
Oh, well, this is one of our sponsors, Misfit.
Misfit. Okay.
Not the band, but it's a local powerlifting and strength training company. So they got the hats, and this is actually my business. I'm getting a gym going myself. It's called Muteki.
Yeah.
Muteki Strong. Yeah. You know the word Muteki. So Muteki Strong Academy is going to be my gym. And
very
cool. With the samurai in the background behind me.
Yeah, I can see the logo in the back there. It's really cool, actually.
Yeah, man. Well,
you designed that yourself?
Concept, and then I had a graphic artist get the proper final touches on it. But yeah.
It's like one of those things. It's like one of those things you would never find in Japan, which is so cool. It's because non-Japanese people or Westerners or whatever we want to call ourselves, the gaijin, right? We have this one vision of what Japan is like for us, but the Japanese never see it like that. So I love those kind of logos, because you would only find that in America or Canada, in your case. Well, yeah, it's cool. Back in the day, I made a Blue-Eyed Samurai hat one time, and it was just like the worst hat ever designed. But very cool stuff.
I'll have to send some out for you and get you rocking our shirts.
Yeah, man. Be happy to support the cause.
Okay. All right.
So once this lockup is done, this is also something I want to touch about. Once the lockup is done, the idea for me is actually to help travel around the world again, and spread the word of Sosai, and do teach on some camps here and there. I've been invited already now to a camp in 2023 in Australia, so it will be happening slowly. I reconnected with the martial arts community again during the COVID, just because I felt that it was something that I'd suppressed for too long, and I feel like that I have a voice that still needs to be heard. So it's kind of cool to be on a podcast with you guys too.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, I was always thinking like, you know, you kind of got into the CrossFit, running your gym, but you know, around the world, I'd say you're most famous with Kyokushin. It's got, there's a big following, and people, you know, a lot over Europe and, you know, all over the world, just because of the character and toughness it builds. And so if you do a camp in Canada, I'm coming, or maybe I'll arrange one.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, Etienne, he's from Quebec. He can't stop talking about it. He's been talking about getting me to go and do like a series of camps in Canada for so long now. But it's just the COVID that's holding us back right now, unfortunately. But it's going to happen. I probably think 2022. I can see that happening, maybe at least, if not 2022, then maybe 2023 for sure. So yeah, I'll definitely be swinging by at one point.
Awesome, man. Well, you always got a place to stay.
Yeah. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Good luck with the gym, man. I hope you just crush it there. Try not to get yourselves hurt anymore with the heavy weights.
We're actually going to go do a tournament in 3 months, and I got to squat. I'm going to squat 700. So let's go.
Jesus.
All right,
man. Yeah, I'll be cheering from the side.
Thanks.
700 pounds. That's fucking nuts, man.
Well, this guy deadlift.
What is that in
over 800?
What?
In kilos.
800.
In kilos, that's 363 kilo.
Damn.
And he just did it for.
So my heaviest deadlift ever was like raw, like without straps and out of belt and everything, was like, I think I was 26 and I pulled 250. That's it.
Wow, 550. Yeah.
It never got any heavier than that. Yeah.
That's a good deadlift.
That's a good deadlift.
Especially if you're a fighter.
You guys should meet my friend Rodney. He's down in Australia. You should have a podcast talk with him. Actually, I'm going to introduce you if you don't know him. He's also a big powerlifter and also a Kyokushin guy. He has this Facebook page that talks about, you know, Kyokushin for fighters on Sundays or something like that. Really cool dude.
Yeah, definitely introduce me.
Yeah. Yes, I will. I'll set up a page so you can like talk it out. You should definitely have a chat with him. He used to be a Uchi Deshi while I was teaching at the Uchi Deshi program. So he came and lived with me for 6 months in Japan one time.
Cool.
Good kid. That's all I think. A good kid.
All right, brother. Well, in tradition of karate, I'm going to give you a os.
Os.
All right, brother.
Thank you very much.
Great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Will do. Thank you.
Combat sports. All right, everybody. Combat sports. So this last weekend, there was an amazing event. You know, everybody's talking about Max Holloway versus
Qatar. I can't.
Calvin Kattar, an up-and-coming fighter who's kind of been making his mark. And so, you know, everybody's saying this is the ultimate fight. Yeah, Max Holloway looked amazing. It was a 5-round beatdown. But what I want to say is Max Holloway couldn't knock out Nate Robinson in a wheelchair with his hands tied behind his back because, I mean, if you take 5 rounds with 700 fucking strikes and you still can't put a guy away, what are we doing here, Darrell?
Yeah, honestly, people bitch that they hate watching lay and pray style wrestle fuck matches, but all this was a guy sparring with someone else, and it's pretty surprising. The one thing I'll give to Qatar, whatever his name is, he got through eating 500 strikes, yet Max is the one that sounded punch drunk after the fight.
Yeah, but you know, we do want to say congratulations to Max, but let's put some people away. How about that? And hopefully it's that little fucking Australian midget. What's his name?
Alexander Volkanovski.
Yeah, let's put him to sleep. Oh, boom!
This weekend, we got a big fight coming up. Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor, #2, a rematch. I think it's about 6-7 years in the making. What's your prediction for it?
Well, you know, Conor McGregor, you know, he's been out there fucking snorting rails off of old grandma's asses and knocking out grandpas in the bars. So I don't think his mind's in the game, but we haven't heard much from him. So that usually means he's been training his ass off. But I must say, you know, Poirier, he's been out there and, you know, having performances of his life, except for, you know, Khabib. But can that be helped? I don't think so. So I'm going to predict that, you know, Poirier pulls off an upset here and hopefully sends Conor to the Philippines to fucking get his ass kicked by Pacquiao. Darrell?
Honestly, I think this is going to be over within probably 2 minutes. I see Connor winning because for me, even though he's taking time off, I think he's so much ahead of him. It doesn't really matter.
All right, we'll see this weekend what goes on. But my bet's on Poirier. He's on McGregor. The loser has to eat a fucking McDouble. Oh, boom!
World's strongest man. Thor Bjornsson. Eddie Hall. The strongest fight in history. Thor versus Eddie.
Another big thing that happened this weekend was Thor actually had an exhibition match with Stephen Ward. It was a 3-round boxing match, and honestly, it went kind of as expected. But I commend Thor for actually going out there and doing that and putting himself on display instead of just hitting the bag at a gym with a guy you just pay to get hit in the face. So.
Yeah, with a head like a fucking golf ball. Of course, that guy is going to fucking crumble. But yeah, going back, I watched the fight. It was a 3-rounder, 3x3 minute. It was a good experience for Thor to get in there. And I must say, he did take some pretty big bombs to the beak, and he was looking like he got hit pretty good, but it didn't phase him. And this is from a professional boxer who, knows how to hit properly. And I did, being in the fight game a bit, I do like the way he was moving. Not so much when he was moving forward, because he was often lunging and throwing wild punches that won't connect. But he was very good on the defense, countering when someone was coming towards him a bit and keeping that distance. And I think in the fight with Eddie's going to come in there like a big dum-dum and start brawling, pushing forward. And Thor just has to keep his, space. So in my mind, I think that's a good thing. He's not going to have to attack Eddie. Eddie's going to come in and he's going to be able to, hit him with one of them fucking logs of an arm, which actually, if you watch the fight, knocked Ward over just by hitting him in the shoulder. It looked like a knockdown, but if you look at it, he just hit him in the shoulder and knocked him over. Yeah, drill.
Yeah, I was impressed by one thing with Thor, that he actually attempted to keep his hands up throughout the entire thing, regardless what happened. He was going back to his jab and trying to work on spacing. Obviously, he's an amateur, but the fact that he was trying something and putting himself on display when you can show Eddie your weaknesses like that, obviously he doesn't give a fuck because he wants to actually get better. He doesn't keep all of his training clips real short so that it only shows the positives.
Yeah, and he's getting in there, and it's definitely, there's a different element of just getting in a ring, performing in front of people, walking down that aisle, the nerves and everything. So if you do that a few times, by the time you go out there, you're going to be used to it. Well, with Eddie, he's going to be, back of his head, he knows he hasn't done the work, I think, and he'll have all his yes men just fucking pushing him out there. You got this, man. And it's going to be a reality check unless he does something dramatically different at this point. All right, a smack.
Resolute. Prepare yourself for battle.
All right, everybody. Big shout out to our sponsors, Resolute. Look at all this amazing stuff that they've sent us. We asked them, hey, can you send us some of your gear so we can review it? And they're like, sure. Boom. I can't believe how much stuff they sent us. It's amazing. Number one, belts. These awesome Velcro belts are amazing because, sometimes you don't want to snap on your thick leather one. And it's just like, you look like an idiot walking around the gym. Something like this, it's just easy to pull on and it holds up to, almost anything. They've made sure the Velcro is definitely heavy duty, and there's a crazy system to keep it done up. Love that. Boom. Also, what I love the most, what they sent me are these amazing elbow sleeves, basically knee sleeves for most people because I got these fucking dumb arms, and it's hard. I usually use my knee sleeves and neoprene ones, and I just find it's hard, getting that shit on. And these are just, the nice, I'm not sure the material, but they're almost a cloth. They're a cloth type, single, double ply type of material. And it just gives me that pop and saves my elbows when, I'm having a hard week doing too many squats and my fucking, elbows are lit up. These are perfect for benching. Love those. Boom. Darrell, what about you?
My favorite gear is actually the wrist wraps. I find you get all the support of a stiffer wrap, but they're a little bit longer, not too long, so you're not just there wrapping and wrapping and wrapping. It's like 2 revolutions, you're good to go. Love them for bench and all my pressing. I make sure I'm always using them. But yeah, I can't say nothing but good shit with these.
Hell yeah, I got the same pair, but in orange. And yeah, what I like about these, I've used Titans and whatever, Mark Bell shit and a bunch of other brands, but I found these are my favorite so far just because the durability and like Darrell said, they're easy to get on. You're not going to be at a meet where you're just, tying up your hands for 2 minutes. It's just boom, they're on. The Velcro's amazing. So I love these. Boom.
Another thing I use every workout is the lifting straps. These are pretty great. I'm not someone who even uses straps all that much till recently, but I've been using these with pretty heavy pulls and all my accessory work. I like them because there's no giving them once you're under heavy weight. I've trap barred about 1,000 pounds before and had straps move on me. These don't move on you at all, and easy. They grab, don't let go. They're great.
Yeah, I got the same pair in orange, and something about that cloth, it just grabs to the bar. It's amazing. And I'm super pumped. I don't have it yet, but I got a custom belt on the way. It's going to have my own logo, similar to the one on the back behind me, in this hat. Oh, wait. Yeah, they made these hats for me too, with their other company. What's that called, Darrell?
Shirt and Curlies.
Shirt and Curlies. So custom anything you want. Hats, hoodies, fucking t-shirts, whatever, some stupid onesie you wear to a furry convention. I don't give a fuck. Have your name and tagged on there, but it's going to be awesome for them and you because you can have your own gear. But on top of that, these custom belts, don't sleep on these. These are, there's only a few other companies, one that I can think of out there in the States. I won't say their name. They rhyme with Pioneer, but they create belts, but these are not as customizable as Resolute. You can damn near have anything on there. It's amazing. So just check them out. Make sure you also, we don't have them on today, we got our own special Fuckery Afoot t-shirt. I'll show that right here. We have the full-on, if you got a pair of balls version, it says the full fuckery. We got another PG version if you're just a little worried about wearing that F-bomb out there in public. Who knows? And if you're just like, I don't want to wear fuckery, well, then we have the 2 guys, 1 bench t-shirt right there for you. So, you don't have an excuse to not, show your love to this company. On top of that is, we're getting a donation to a great charity called Kids Sport in Canada. And, for our shirts specifically, it's $5 every shirt we're going to give to this charity. So it's almost like you're giving back to the community just by buying this shirt. And they look pretty awesome. So go and get those. Boom.
Resolute. Prepare yourself for battle. Nihongo no Benkyo. Let's study Japanese.
All right, everybody, let's learn some Japanese. So, it's been a while. And I think a lot of you guys out there, maybe, like Darrell, you run around chasing Pokemons and balls outside. I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but one of my favorite manga cartoons was Hokuto no Ken, Fist of the North Star. And, it was a crazy anime series with the guys with all the muscles. And this guy had one death punch. You just got to touch you and you blow up and die. So here we go, Darrell. All right, so repeat after me, Darrell. Oh my.
Oh my.
Say it like me. Oh my.
Oh my.
Ah, yes. Next step. Mo.
Oh my mo.
Whoa, he's picking it up quick. Oh my mo.
Oh my mo.
Good. All right, this one's a little harder. Sudani.
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 Good. Last part. Shinderu.
Again.
Shinderu.
Shinderu.
Nice. Okay, let's put it all together. Omae mo sudani shinderu.
Omae mo.
All right, Darrell, let's put it together. Omae mo sudani shinderu.
Omae mo sudani shinderu.
Very good, Darrell. So what does it mean?
No clue.
You are already dead, fool. You are already dead, fool.
I like that. That's kind of badass.
Damn right.
日本語の勉強 Let's study Japanese.
All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in to Two Guys, One Bench.
Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you liked the interview with Pettas, the blue-eyed samurai. Join us next week. We're going to have another great interview for you. And like always, we're going to have a bunch of shit talking to do.
You're damn right, because all we do is take shits and shit talk. And that's my life. So don't forget to eat big.
Train hard.
And always be fight ready.
Two guys, one bench.
Shit talking.
Strength sports. Combat sports. Over. Powerlifting motivations. Choices and consequences. Misfit. Resolute. Prepare yourself for battle. Home gyms YYC. Generation Strength Coach. Discover your